probably asking more like specific stuff here.
A lot of people don't understand. They don't understand brand sometimes, and it's a pretty comprehensive topic.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I sort of wanted to start off by asking you, like, personal kind of, because I'm with the Tribune Review, I'm with the Valley News Dispatch, so I'm going to ask you about Apollo.
Yeah.
Tell me, like, a little bit, just, backstory, upbringing. Did you grow up there? Tell me about family that still lives there. Give me the Apollo angle.
Well, Apollo, I grew up there. It's a town of about 1,800. I think it was about 2,100 when I was growing up. It's a very poor town, not a high income area. I grew up. Parents were divorced, and my mom had 2 jobs. She worked till midnight over at Giant Eagle. And so I've had jobs since I was 12 years old. Paper house. I've worked in supermarkets. I've worked in a nuclear power plant. Did a lot of blue collar jobs growing up, and I became who I am today because of that experience. And it was awesome. It was all my best buddies at Apollo. They're all still my best buddies. So when I come home, it's a big deal. There's about 8 of us, and it's sort of that kind of Hoosier story, I guess you could say. And it's got Apollo has a lot of meaning to me because I had an incredible childhood.
Tell me, like, specifics about what families still live there and that sort of thing.
Well, my mom lives in Latrobe, and then my twin sister lives in Latrobe. My dad lives down here in Glenshaw, over in North Hills area. And so none of my immediate family lives in Apollo anymore, but they're all kind of spread out through the Pittsburgh region.
Sounds like you've got a footprint all over the area now.
I do, yeah. It makes vacations and coming home, I do more traveling back and forth than I do actually laying in a bed.
Yeah. Chris, we're obviously standing where the Soul Center was. When you came back on campus and you saw the facilities, what kind of jumped to your mind?
Well, when I was back here in October, I was speaking at the sport management school of business conference they had, and I saw it sort of in what you consider the vanilla stage, when you didn't have the pretty colors up and the seats and everything. I just thought it was unbelievable. I mean, the size of it, how well thought out it was, particularly the conference center side. They thought of everything. And, coming back a couple weeks ago when I interviewed, it's even made a tremendous amount of progress since then. But just the amount of detail, and you got the new technology and the ribbon boards and the way they did the graphics and the aesthetics on it, it's very professionally done. You don't see that a lot of times in newer facilities. Usually they're a little vanilla, and then they add to over time. And they were smart where they did it all at once, because you only have one chance when you open it up to make a bang. And they've done that. Again, like I said, and Dr. Howard said, it's a game changer.
You mentioned Dr. Hoffaker, and you said the words, I think it was audacious ideas. That's someone that sort of mindset always resonated with for me. How were you, like, from afar watching her run this program, and how much did you sort of hope to build off some of those audacious ideas that she did enact here?
Yeah, well, Dr. Hoffaker meant an awful lot to me. And, I don't want to get emotional about it, but, again, she saw something in me that, I didn't see in myself. She would push me, and I had 3 internships because, I was all over the place and didn't really know what direction I wanted to go in. But, a lot of times I think students forget, like, faculty, they can be your mentors. And you don't realize that until 5, 10, 15 years later when you're out in the real world and you're dealing with those same experiences that she was dealing with. And so, we kept we talked regularly as I was going through my grad assistantship, my first position at Liberty University, then Central Florida. And so she just meant an awful lot to my development, my leadership development. And so she's someone very special.
One of the things that she implemented here was sort of a focus on, I guess being different, for lack of a better word, where Robert Morris has golf, Robert Morris has men's lacrosse, has ice hockey that other schools in the Pittsburgh area don't. How much do you feel like that is something that can still be tapped into here, that there's that differentiation between the other universities here that are obviously larger?
Yeah, I think when you're in the Pittsburgh market, right, I mean, you're talking the Steelers, Pirates, and Penguins, Pitt, Duquesne, basketball, Robert Morris basketball. So a lot of the other sports kind of just get pushed to the side. I don't really believe in that. I believe in comprehensive excellence. I mean, at UTRGV, we're number 2 in the WAC Commissioner's Cup for a reason, and we're good in men's basketball. Again, that's part of the audacious planning. There's ways to invest and commit to your sports and not just your main sport, and still provide those resources that are necessary. Because, again, men's basketball, is going to give you the most notoriety on a national stage. But again, when you recruit those student athletes 5, 10, 15, 20 years now, they didn't have a world-class experience, and I failed them. And so they got, they want to win just like men's basketball does. They want the same amount of resources. They want the same gear. They want the same apparel. They want the same type of shoes. And those are things that when you build that culture, and UTRGV, we call it 16 sports, one team. We have 16 sports here. Probably have something very similar in nature. And Dr. Hoffaker believed in that, and something that I took with me my entire career.
I was talking to you about image before, and like I think of Robert Morris Sports as a pretty healthy, operation. I mean, you got this new building here. These are teams that are competitive a lot more often than not across all sports. Do you feel that way? Is there some sense of maintaining in this role? Because I know when you come into a new role, it's all about growth.
Well, I would tell you that Dr. Howard's a pretty, of course I said charismatic, but he's a very visionary guy, really believes in transformation. He's got a bold vision. I don't think he would have hired me unless he wanted me to assist him in elevating this athletic program as a major brand, the most visible marketing tool, the front porch for the university. And so I'm very confident in my meetings with him and knowing him even before. And his appreciation for athletics and where it fits in higher education, I wouldn't be here.
Chris, Dr. Howard mentioned the next level. How do you envision the next level of Robert Morris athletics?
Well, I mean, I talked a little bit about that, about the commitment in the different areas, the investment that you have to make in the different areas. And so a lot of it's just rolling up your sleeve. We're going to have a little bit of a blue-collar mentality in this department. We've got to do a little more with less. We might have to have more chemistry than talent and staffing compared to some other schools. But it can be done if you have the right people. Again, if you attract, you hire, you develop, and you retain what I call our high growth contributors. That's a key part. I mean, a lot of people miss that. I'm a big believer in people and development. And people are and the student athletes, the talent, are the ones that make this thing, take you to the next level. Sometimes I think that some schools will put all the resources and money and attention into their main sport, right? And I don't think that's necessary. I mean, even at Alabama, football is king, right? But their budgets and their facilities are some of the nicest in the country, from top to bottom. We had national championship coaches the whole way down in rows in offices. And so, again, it was about the comprehensive excellence and making sure the student athletes have an incredible experience while they're here.
In your first 100 days or so, how do you go about evaluating the programs and the coaches here at the university?
Yeah, that's that's a long, it'd be a long answer, but and try to get as short as possible. Is you can take a look at the immediate, intermediate, long-term, plans. The first 30 to 45 days, you spend a lot of time meeting with people, both internally here, to get as much information as you can, listening and learning. There's a lot of things, they'll come in and they'll make all these changes. Well, it takes a while to have an understanding of why something may have been done, why it was maintained. And so you don't want to make mistakes early on. And again, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I have a little bit of an advantage over maybe someone who hasn't done it in the past. But you got to take a look, and usually month 2 and the beginning of 3, as far as your staff. Is there additional staff you can bring in? Is there people maybe that are fence sitters, or observer critics, I call them, and they're detrimental to the program and moving them ahead. And then you really take a look at what your organizational structure and hierarchy looks like, and you want to develop that pretty quickly, so they kind of know what their roles and responsibilities are. And then you start really getting into the future, the vision, the growth. What does that look like? You start getting that strategic planning process, and by that you have already met with university administrators, faculty, staff, the student body, community members, donors, former players. I mean, it's an exhaustive process to get everybody involved. Because again, you want everyone to have ownership. If it's just my vision, we're not going to go very far. But everyone has to have ownership in the direction you're going. They have to buy into it. And so I think a lot of times people will fail because they'll put these visions in really quickly. And again, if they don't have ownership in it, you're not going to go very far.
Looking at your resume, a lot of warm weather places. I want to ask you about hockey. Is when you come here, is that one of the challenges that you haven't faced? Everything else you're going to run into, you've seen before. Hockey will be kind of a new thing for you? Is it challenging? Let
me tell you about this. And I said this in interviews several times. I'm excited about hockey and lacrosse.
All right.
Now, every other sport I've had, rowing, I was a sport administrator of rowing at Alabama. So, again, hockey and lacrosse, I'm excited about. Really excited about it. Because I've never been to a school with it. And I love hockey. I always thought I'd been a good lacrosse player. But no, they have had success, so we need to build on that success. And so those coaches are going to love me because I'm excited. It's something that I haven't had to work with before. And again, they're the CEOs of their own programs. They're the experts. My job is to help them with resources and support, but they're probably going to get a lot of support. I think it's really cool sports.
Ultimately, this is Pittsburgh. What role does football have to play?
Well, I mean, football plays a big part. And like I told the search committee, you're looking at football as the sport in the fall, even with soccer and volleyball, with all due respect. It is the sport that starts the alumni engagement, the community engagement at games, the excitement level that leads into basketball, that leads into hockey. And then, of course, basketball, hockey lead into lacrosse and the spring sports. So football, again, I mean, I think it's something that Coach Clark and I have talked about it on the search committee. I think he got a little bit excited when I talked about it in that way. And that's the way I view it. I mean, it's an engagement tool.